WoW Platinum is pretty fire, not gonna lie. And by fire, I mean I want to blow my face open with a fire. Hey everybody, welcome back. 1 year later, as if nothing happened. 2.
Has it actually been a year?
More than a year.
There's absolutely been a year.
Yeah, we were gonna do a Halloween episode, and then I had a kid, so we stopped recording.
Yeah, very selfish.
Yeah, I know. What a dick. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Rum and Cinema. Today we'll be looking at Megalopolis, now available to rent. Wouldn't buy it. On video on demand. You can find us.
I wouldn't rent it.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully this will dissuade you. You can find us at youtube.com/@rumandcinema. Subscribe to keep up to date with our newest episodes as we release them 1 year apart. So we're not going to ding you too often. Hit that bell,
Don't miss an episode.
Yeah, you'll forget everything that we talked about. It's like a real show back in the day, You had to wait a year in between episodes instead of like 10 days. Yeah. Check us out on TikTok also.
We don't have it previously on.
I haven't put a TikTok out in like 2 years, so that's longer. At Rum and Cinema.
I think there's like one TikTok too.
There's several.
Watch our backlog
Yeah.
of TikTok.
Watch what we thought was funny, and then we'll try again. Today I'm joined by my guests, Nate and Jake, as always. Boys, how you doing?
Doing good. I'm excited to get into this movie because my opinion on this movie changed as I watched it.
Okay.
We'll talk about where I started and where I ended
I
up.
hope it changes as you watch it, I guess.
I don't know. I'm excited to dig into it because I want to hear what changed him one way or the other.
At the beginning of the movie, I was somewhat optimistic. No, I wasn't. No, I never was. I'm not gonna lie. That's good. Good to hear. All right, so we forgot how to podcast. Let's be honest. We don't know what we're doing anymore. It's been a year. You guys seen any good movies? What's the
best?
What's a movie that you wish we could have done a podcast on and we haven't? Maybe that's a good question to ask.
The Wild Robot.
Yeah, I've heard
That's my movie of the year.
Dang. Holy cow. I have not seen it yet, but I'm going to buy it.
I went and saw it on a Friday, and then I went back and saw it again on Sunday.
Dang.
It was really good.
Okay.
And I want to buy the kids' books that it's based off of.
Oh, it is based off kids' books. That's it.
Yeah. Well, it's like Holes level reading.
Holes is like honestly one of my favorite movies and books. I read it. I remember in grade school. Did you guys have like where you had to read a book and you get points based on taking a test in the book, and you have to get so many points per whatever quarter based on where you are? Every year I did Holes. Guaranteed. Holes and the Derek Jeter biography. Every single year was like a guaranteed 15 points. I'm getting out of there. So good.
Just read the same book every year.
Yeah, dude. I'm not a reader. Okay?
Like I know this book.
Yeah. I still don't think I got 100 on the test. I want to make that clear. But yeah, that was good. I saw Alien Romulus recently. That was wild. It got kind of like trying to be too alien fanny after a while, but it was pretty good. I've seen a lot of movies. I saw Godfather finally. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
I want to watch all the Saw movies because I finished all of the Fast and the Furious movies, which it turns out Christopher Nolan thinks they're like some of the most fun you can have watching a movie. He loves them and he watches them all the time. So now I feel like I'm in better company. And I'm working through all of Quentin Tarantino's movies and all of Nolan's movies again because it's been a while.
Nice. I saw Smile 2 recently, which we talked about a little bit.
Good.
It was good.
Yeah.
I think it's a better horror film than the first Smile.
I love the first Smile. That was really fun.
Yeah.
Is the monster the same?
Yeah, but better.
Nice. Good.
Right. When the monster showed up in the first Smile, I'm like, this is the worst part of the movie.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's not.
Oh.
But I don't know. Like I said, Smile 2. Is it better than Smile 1? It's a better horror film. I think it was a little less fun.
Oh, interesting.
Smile 1 was fun because they got you good with jump scares.
Yeah.
Just
They messed
there.
you up.
And yeah, and Smile 2, not as many jump scares, but a much better horror ambience, right?
Okay.
Just more natural uneasiness.
Ooh, I like that.
And I think a big part of that, though, looking back, was you expect just the best jump scares.
Yeah.
Because it's the sequel to Smile.
Yeah.
And then you get some, don't get me wrong, but it's not like constant like in Smile 1.
Uh-huh.
So I think that lends itself to the air of uneasiness, is that you're waiting for these jump scares that don't come.
You're just on edge. They're edging you.
Yeah.
The whole time. That's sweet.
A little bit of horror edging.
Horror edging. That's a good genre film, actually. Like, I feel like Nope did that for a little bit, and then they like released a little bit when those kids were in the barn, and it was like, don't worry. And then it keeps going. Nate, you watch any good movies?
Nope wasn't amazing. That particular reveal was really good.
Oh my god. So good.
No, yeah, speaking of homework, coming back to a movie podcast after a year, and I did not think about the movies I watched over the last year. I was like desperately trying to find something I watched. But I don't think I've watched anything very good.
Nate's back.
Come out that's like really good.
Yeah.
I am back.
Nate's back.
I've watched 43 films this year, and they were all garbage.
They were all terrible.
Don't worry, Venom 3 is out still. You can go watch that.
Sweet.
I heard Noah's in it. They're setting up a Sinister 6 movie.
Yeah, that's gonna happen, I'm sure.
Yeah. Mobius.
I think Saltburn we watched in between the last movie podcast and this one, which was fun.
Saltburn, we did a podcast on. It was really good.
We did a podcast? I was swiping through the podcast to see if we had done one, and I didn't see it.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I didn't put it out. We definitely did one, though.
You fucking liar. It's not, no, it's not in here.
Yeah, Saltburn? I remember watching it.
No.
Yeah.
Just because you watched it. It's not in our list of podcasts.
Where are you looking?
It's in the vault.
Yeah, it's in the vault. Sure.
I'm looking at a podcast app of our podcast.
Oh. Do you go to all?
Yes.
Go to our YouTube channel. youtube.com/@RomanCinema. I know it's
Sweet
there.
plug. That's so weird.
I bought that movie, remember the tub scene? Obviously.
Yes.
I bought a vinyl of the soundtrack, which is actually fire soundtrack. It's all like early 2000s like alt rock, and it's the middle of the record is a drain, and it has water in the vinyl. So like as it goes around, it's like circling the drain. It's so great.
Wow.
Yeah. Abby was less than impressed with how cool it was because she was disturbed by that scene. I mean, rightfully so. It's horrifying. But yeah, Saltburn was great. I really liked it. It's creepy guy.
I'm just enjoying your pictures on the on the YouTube
thumbnails.
channel.
They're clickable, right?
That's
all that matters.
That's an art.
It's something.
Still no Saltburn though. You're just wrong about that part.
No, we definitely did a Saltburn one.
And I was trying to think,
or did I just watch it because you said it was so good?
I think there's a chance that happened.
I feel like we.
There's a couple that are like movies in 2023. Maybe we talked about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on. Saltburn was good. I was disappointed by Kinds of Kindness, which was Yorgos's other film that came out. Okay, I enjoyed myself, but Taylor didn't, and I don't think you guys would like it. And if you told me you didn't like it, I'd be like, that's fair.
Yeah.
Like,
just
it was fucking, it was just all over the place. Yeah, if you did like any Yorgos movies, you're definitely not gonna like it.
This is like the most
I can say for sure.
Movie.
It's pushing 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's 3 separate shorts, which I didn't know going in.
Oh.
It's 3 like hour-long movies that are completely unrelated.
Is Meth Damon in all of them?
Yes.
Okay, then
it's all the same actors. It's like Meth Damon,
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone,
Willem.
Willem. Willem's kind of not in them that much though, which was a little disappointing. Anyway, yeah, if you're a weird freak, go watch Kinds of Kindness.
I think that's just Yorgos' lane, right? It's just freaky guys and freaky gals.
And these are like his freakiest ideas that he couldn't turn into real movies, so he just made 3 short films. I mean, like 40-minute films, but...
Did you like Poor Things? Enjoy My Fever Dream. Here you go.
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly that.
Good. It's like Beau is Afraid for what's his face that we like, Ari.
Yeah. Ari, yeah.
Yeah. He could have made a full length that one YouTube video we watched, and it would have been better than Beau is Afraid.
No, he could not.
Anywho, so
God.
Megalopolis.
The whole audience would be afraid.
Yeah.
Beau is empty.
Yeah, not like continuing the winning pattern with Megalopolis.
Yeah, I knew this was gonna be a bad one, but I just thought we'd have some fun things to say about it. So let's get into it. Megalopolis is about Yep.
Okay, as we start to get into what it's about, I think this movie is in that group of movies that it's very hard to give somebody a synopsis of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it's what's this movie about? It's
about Aubrey. You see Aubrey Plaza's butt twice. It's Shia LaBeouf is a cuck. What's Angelina Jolie's dad is a bank owner.
An old weirdo.
Adam Driver.
Actually, he's
Adam
the most
Driver.
normal person in the movie.
I know he is. The bad guy from Breaking Bad is a mayor, and the girl from Game of Thrones is a love interest.
Oh, I pulled out his name earlier today.
Giancarlo Esposito.
I was really impressed with myself.
That's a good poll.
I'm impressed with you. Yeah.
I got Natalie Emanuel based on a Jeopardy question the other day, and Abby, who is, like IMDb autism, didn't get it. And she was like, how did you pull that? And I was like, I don't know. It's the first time I've ever beat her on one of those.
Oh, shit. This is not... I actually have a movie recommendation.
Ooh, save it for the end.
Not like gonna blow your mind. Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Because you don't have
You're
one.
the one who asked the movie
one.
recommendations at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
But he said, it's been a whole year. Like, this is...
No, I did.
Yeah.
I did say that.
I can
You want
say
me to come up with 2 recommendations in a year?
Movies that I saw and I think you should watch.
Okay.
Not Dune 2.
Oh.
Fucking...
You don't
Oh
like
my
Dune
god.
2?
I know. I wanted to make you guys mad with that one.
What? You didn't like Dune 2?
Yeah. Yeah, we already argued about this
Yeah, we
in
did.
a long text
But now
chain.
I'm mad all over
Yeah.
again. He's just a contrarian.
I can pull it up if we... I want to like the movies. It's not my fault that they're fucking pointless.
How is it pointless? Is the book pointless?
Yeah. About 2/3.
Yeah, kind of.
it is.
I tried to read the book like 3 times, and it's fucking boring.
Yeah. Do you love politics and not knowing any names?
All I think about that movie.
Chant. Oh.
Yeah, how do they write the book?
Yeah.
Just guttural
Yeah,
noises.
Megalopolis is just like Dune 2. It's fucking meandering. We're just moving from thing to thing.
What a transition.
Like, and
We're
then
so
this
back.
happened. And then this happened. Who gives a shit? Fuck you. Let's move on to the next IMAX shot. Let's do it.
All right.
I bet I would have liked Megalopolis a little more if I saw it in IMAX.
No.
Here's
You would have been pissed you paid
Well, I
$4
think I
extra
would've.
dollars.
I think all the fucking people... Oh, yeah, I would have been mad that I already paid $20 for it to watch it in my shitty living room by myself.
I had an 80-inch TV and Dolby Atmos, and it didn't help. All right? You're fine.
I'm just saying.
so we'll start with what's peak with this movie.
What's
The
good
cast
about it? Cast is fire.
is amazing.
Yep. Cast is fire.
And they pretty much all nailed it.
Yep.
Right?
I would-
No complaints about the cast.
Some didn't fit, but they nailed the role they were given. Like, some people didn't fit in the world, but like they all nailed what they were given, I would say.
So apparently he wrote this over 40 years.
Yeah. This is his, like,
Is that
Yeah,
true?
it's
pet project.
And I agree. It shows.
Yeah.
I think there are parts of it that seemed like he had different ideas for the movie at the time, and he just didn't take the time to make it all coherent at the end.
And then he like threw
Right.
stuff in, like January 6th references at the end. He like had a little scene of that, and then Trump
Very-
was
I
a
felt
character basically. It was. Just
It felt very anachronistic at times, right? Like
Yeah.
it was hard to, because obviously it's in this like fake city called New Rome,
Yeah.
but at different times it felt like it was at different time periods, like
Yeah.
you know,
It was
of the history of technology. It was inconsistent at building that setting, which it kind of
I mean,
doesn't
we thought we were
matter.
going to be impressed by a vertical escalator.
You mean elevator?
No, I don't know what to call the like horizontal people movers.
Oh,
I
the
said
things
vertical,
that's
not
in every
horizontal.
airport.
Yeah, the thing that's in
Yeah.
every airport. He was like,
I
was
think
Doesn't
I
take
actually
you
think
and they
it's
move
called
slower
horizontal
than the
people
ones in
movers.
airports.
Those
Yeah,
are called
we
people
can't go
movers,
with
I'm
the
pretty
name.
sure.
Yeah,
They're Volkswagen.
he was like, watch and be amazed.
He went to he's never been to an airport, and he's like flying for the movie. He's like, what the fuck? And the first time he sees
He was so pissed when he went to an airport and they were there and like, they stole my idea.
oh, it was in my book. I knew I shouldn't have left it at the airport that one time I flew.
I think so. With regards to that material, which was what, like Megalon, that's what they called
Yeah,
it.
Megalon. The guilt trip
That-
material.
So that's the science fiction of this movie, right? Is that
Sure.
Megalon? And they don't care about the science of it
No.
because it's like what does Megalon do? It does everything.
Everything. And it bends physics.
And,
I was
and
gonna- It feels very early science fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where people didn't know, and like nowadays we're more skeptical because technology is more a part of our lives. Like back in early, if you read like 50 science fiction, it's like this thing is just basically magic and it does everything. Why? Because microchips. Like that's how they solve all the problems.
Yeah, so it's inconsistent with itself, like what Megalon is, to the point where it almost feels more like magic than science fiction.
Yeah.
Again, like I'm not a huge fan of that. Do I think it's necessarily a bad thing? Not really. I don't think that's the point of the film, right?
No.
You just have to accept, okay, Megalon is this mysterious substance that can somehow do everything.
Yeah. It's like a writer's trick to like get yourself out of a hole. It's like, what does this do? Whatever we need it to when we're on page 40 and 87
Yeah.
and 100. Yeah.
Yeah, is it kind of lazy that he didn't go back and fix it?
Yeah.
Maybe, but also it's not the point of the film.
Yeah, is that
so
the thing
it
I'm
also
leaving the
kind of doesn't
movie
matter.
most like upset about? No.
Yeah, right.
I was gonna say, no,
The people
this
who
is-
argue about consistencies in science fiction, I'm like, it can be fun sometimes, but also if you're seriously mad about it, it's probably not the point of the movie. Unless it is the point of the movie, in which case be mad about it.
Right, like it's not like Primer where like the whole idea is like time travel. This is just like a piece of a thing within the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like pretty inconsequential to it. And yeah, that is not why I don't think it's a good movie. Though I will say, of all the complaints, the one is getting shot in the face and then just being like, Megalon it.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty.
Yeah.
I rolled my eyes pretty hard at that one.
Yeah.
But other than that, I agree with you. That's not why the movie's bad.
No. I don't know. I think it's like coherent. It's just not a coherent story. It's supposed to be like a fable about Roman times told in a modern setting is what I think, that based on descriptions that I've seen what he's going for. I just
like
don't get
it seems like it's supposed to be about like the fall of an empire, and obviously it's supposed to be like the fall of the American Empire, and like that contrasting that with like the idea of a utopia. But like there's so many other things going on in the movie that have nothing to do with that. Like it's so unfocused. There's so many parts of the movie where they would start talking about that, like they would be reading some quote or not quote. I don't know enough history to know if they were all sourced from actual like Roman stuff, and then it would just be like, and also here's some sex stuff. Like, also here's a plot to like take over a bank. And I'm just like, these have nothing to do with your plot. Like,
well,
you can't just put everything in a movie and call it an epic, and then it's okay because it's an epic.
So let's look at character motivations just on that thread. So Caesar wants to make this utopia, right? That's his motivation.
Mhm.
He wants to use Megalon to bring us closer. He sees the end of civilization coming. He thinks Megalon will be the thing that fixes that and brings us back to nature and the next like version of what civilizations for humans is, right?
Yeah. And then he's got side plots about like falling in love with the mayor's daughter and having a baby for no reason.
Well,
I
conflict,
disagree with that, but I think we should go through the overarching storyline first.
Okay.
Before we dive into specifics.
It opens with clocks and
Ben's
towers,
got it.
which I thought was a cool little visuals at the beginning. That was fun. And then it starts with a fable, New Rome, third millennium. That's where we're at. Design Authority tears down a building. The Design Authority is where Caesar, played by Adam Driver, works. He is the like czar or head of the Design Authority, and he basically gets to decide what things get put where. And he tore down this building at the beginning because he's going to put Megalopolis there with his Megalon all-encompassing building material. And the mayor hates it because he wants to put a casino there, and the people hate it because they're getting kicked out of their homes. But Caesar is like, nope, this is the best for the future. We got to just bite the bullet on this and go. Wow, what's her name? Wow Millennia or something?
Wow
Platinum.
Yeah.
Played by Aubrey Plaza.
Well, one thing that I'll throw in first.
Mm-hmm.
When they tear down that building, it's revealed that Caesar can stop time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's an interesting thing to add in because when he does it at the beginning of the movie, and you think, wow, this must be really important. The main character can stop time at will. And you can maybe tell from the fact that Ben didn't even mention it, it ends up being surprisingly unimportant.
Yeah.
Very odd choice, which throughout the movie, I was like, what the hell? It's one more confusing thing, right? There's a lot of things in this movie that are just confusing, and you're like, I don't get it.
I did like the very last scene. They tied it all back together with the stopping time.
Yeah. This is one that, so by the end of the movie, on the literal last scene, which we'll get to when we get to,
in 4 hours.
Yeah. This movie felt like longer than it was.
I paused it twice. And you know how sometimes you like guess where you're at? I was like, I gotta be at least halfway through the movie. First time is like 15 minutes in. I was like, are you shitting me? And then I was like,
I paused it halfway through, and I'm like, okay, I got like another hour left.
Yeah.
I paused it again after, and I'm like, and I was like, it had been like 15 more minutes, and I'm like, this isn't adding up.
Did you pause time?
we all had this moment when I paused the movie to send you guys a snap making fun of the movie. And then I sent you another one, and I was going to be like, another halfway through, and it wasn't halfway through the movie yet.
It's bad. At that, speaking of pausing time, at the destruction of the tower, Julia, who is the mayor's daughter, played by Natalie Emmanuel, I think that's her name, pretty sure.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones lady. She she's not affected by the time stopping. It's like she can experience the time slow down like Caesar can. So they're kindred spirits, maybe. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say the time stopping has no effect on the plot to the point where before I watched it, I'd heard people say like it's not even clear whether it's really happening or not.
Yeah.
And then watching the movie, I'm like, it wouldn't be, except that she also experiences it.
Yeah.
Which I guess could also be metaphorical, but they talk about it in the movie.
It's true. Yeah.
She's just like, you can stop time, right? Because the dialogue in this movie is awful. She's literally oh yeah, also you can stop time. And he's like, you know that? Interesting.
Whoa.
That's exactly how they talk about it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Anyway, go on.
So the Design Authority tears down a building, and then they're in a warehouse in what appears to be 1950s New York to decide what to do with the space. So they all have like their bowler hats.
That's
and
the first scene they shot.
The press little name tags in the hat. Like it's very cliche 50s.
So that part of the movie, that scene, at that point, I was still confused about the time stopping, right? The setting is very confusing. I loved that scene. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to like this movie because that scene was cool. It's kind of obvious in its stuff, right? They have a lot of exposition it's not like blatant and bad in a way that they're like really, because it's by design, right? Like they're obviously, they'll have while Platinum was a reporter and she just flat out gives you exposition. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, that's stylistic, right? It's not anything else. So, and that scene, he comes out with he had the Shakespearean dialogue, he gives that. And that's where I feel like a lot of the dialogue in this movie went wrong, right? They had great Shakespearean quotes. They had a lot of Roman intellectuals as quotes, right? They had a ton of these things to pull from. And I think they also tried to write their own dialogue in that really stylistic way.
Yep.
And a lot of the time fell short.
Turns out you're not Shakespeare.
Yeah.
It's like a tagline for the...
Yeah, right. I think it's what they were going for, right? They wanted that feel of, it's like the Roman senators discussing, what they're going to do with their great city. And I think that's what that warehouse scene was, right? Mm-hmm. It was like the Roman Senate all discussing things, and they're yelling, but they're highly intelligent, and the dialogue there was really good. But they were also from there largely pulling from other sources. Mm-hmm. And at other times in the movie, when the dialogue is good, it's because they're quoting to each other.
Yeah.
And then when they try and have their own original dialogue, they try and match that, and it comes out as awkward.
It's very true. It's
just to give you a sense in that scene, because I agree with you. It's like tonally, it's just so all over the place when they're being high-minded. In that scene, for sure, the grandpa banker says to his grandson,
"Oh yeah.
I hear you sleeping with your sisters. If so, you better stop." I think that's exactly the words that he says.
Yeah.
And they mentioned that like flippantly twice and then never really address it.
I mean, he's clearly banging his sisters, but like...
Was it Chloe Fineman?
It's the only thing I remember about Shia LaBeouf's character.
Yeah. So time passed. Oh, wait, hang on. Julia and Caesar... Oh, sorry. While Platinum and Caesar are doing the deed. And it's interesting because the way that you see her seduce Caesar versus the way you see her later on seduce Claudio is the exact opposite. Like, she's the submissive one in the Caesar relationship. She's almost like begging him to do anything, whereas with Claudio, she's the dominant, like literally like throws his face into her a couple times.
And that's she doesn't care about Caesar.
No.
I
don't know. She says she loves him.
I don't think she does. I think she wants to collect him. I think she wants power, and that's a great thing to have.
That's fair.
It seems like she's upset when he doesn't pay her enough attention at the end of that scene, and he leaves. And what does she do? She was watching herself on TV right before then, and she turned it off when he got there. But then when he left, she immediately sits up, turns on the TV, and keeps watching herself on TV again.
Yeah,
I think she's only wants her own power.
That's
and
fair.
So she plays the game to build herself up. And that's what she told him in that scene. She's like, I'm tired of being your mistress. I want to be a power couple.
Yeah.
And,
But I think she still like wants him. You're right, as a collector. Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
I think it's safe to take everyone at their word in this movie when they say things.
Yeah, you're probably right. So Julia, Mayor's daughter, and like in the newspapers for being smutty, basically. She's like smutty for like half a scene in this movie, and then the rest she's just like the most fully clothed person in this movie.
I've forgotten about that. The first scene is just him opening a newspaper, and it's just the mayor opening a newspaper, and it's just full screen of her topless. And the rest of the movie, she's completely reserved,
like neck to ankles, like Handmaid's Tale type. Yeah.
You've changed me, Caesar Catalina.
Yeah, they, and I think they tried to set up that dichotomy, right? This is how she was before. This is how she is now. But it was too sudden.
Yeah.
It was too, So yeah, that ended up kind of being weird too.
It's true.
It's just we didn't know her enough to build her up as this. They just said, "Oh yeah, this is how she is," and then we see her from the beginning, and she's entirely like, I don't know how I describe her, but not like that.
Yeah.
Also, at the beginning, Claudio is in love with her, and that completely drops out of existence too, as far as I can remember.
He's still in love with her.
The first scene we see him is like, go ahead.
I think he's still in love with her. He just changes his viewpoint to, I'm still in love with you, but now I'm just pissed. Like, it's adding to my fuel of the fire for Caesar, because he hates Caesar too. But yeah, he kind of gives up saying, I love you, Julia, and then crying in the car.
Yeah, all he's doing is crying and like following her around, and then he just changes to, I think it's exactly what you said. Like, I feel like there was a different movie where that was the main driving plot. And then they were like, actually, we need him to be the fascist boy. At one point,
like maybe 25 or 30 years ago, he was writing about that.
Yep.
And then later on, he's like, okay, actually, the movie should be about this. But he never went back to reconcile.
Yeah.
When he's filming the scenes,
sure all of his different writings meshed together.
I want to know, like, I kind of want to read the script to see how different it is than, like, what we see. Like, what would get Adam Driver to be like, oh, hell yeah, dude. I mean, working with Francis Ford Coppola, I suppose, is good, but, like, why?
It's got to be that.
Yeah. So Julia visits Caesar and walks through the future, which is a smattering of trash put together by children that you then walk through, and like she can see plants. Like, it's basically nature homogenizing with civilization is what the Megalon does. That's how I take it. Like, plants grow into things, and it's a whole futuristic scene.
The first part of that scene when she's like, I want to work for you, and they're arguing about it, was the scene that I think the first scene I literally had to stop and send you guys a snap making fun of it. Yeah. And it's, now that you put it, it's exactly what Jake said. I think that scene was trying to be like Shakespearean sonnet level, because she said, I presume, and she's like,
it's some back
like,
and
you'll
forth.
allow me? And he's like, yes. And she goes, you'll allow me? And he goes, yes. You'll allow me? Yes.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was just like, what the fuck am I watching? It was so weird. It was so totally like discordant. Like it didn't, it was like, I felt like I got slapped in the face. I was like, just took me out of the movie. And that's exactly what they were like, this is going to be fucking badass. Like, as he's writing it.
Yeah. We're going to get so many awards for this. If this is up for the Razzie. So here's our plan, by the way, listener, viewer. We're going to watch all the Best Picture Oscar movies and all the Best Worst Picture Razzie movies. If this is up for Worst Picture, I'm not watching it again. I'm just going to put this podcast out again.
I think the Razzies are too much of a coward to put this up for Razzies.
This is going to be up for 17 nominations. They're going to make up categories for this fucker. I think. Yeah. Because it was like It was like self-promoted, self-made. Like, Francis Ford Coppola put a whole bunch of his own money into this. He was just like, I made a bunch of money.
$120 million.
Good God.
I think I read that.
That's what it takes to make this movie.
That's just his, like, what he put up. Other people, I think, did still, like Lionsgate, was the distributor.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
After a lot of negotiation.
Yeah, we can't put this in theaters. No, but you have to. Oh, and also there's going to be a guy that comes up and talks to you in the theater, but they didn't do that. And then he was going to have AI, Adam Driver, answer the questions of people that could yell at them in the theater. Do you remember that scene where they're in the movie? It looks like you're in a movie theater. He was going to have someone in theaters come up and stand at a podium and face the screen and ask the question that the movie asks. And then he was also going to have AI where people could come up and ask a question and Adam Driver would answer it.
It's bold.
You know what? That'd be worth my $20, honestly.
Yeah. If I could yell at Adam Driver.
I want it in my theater for like a little Alexa Spinny to come up and be like, ask a question.
Hey Caesar, what the hell are you doing in this movie? So Julia follows Caesar around. We see that Caesar's like in the room where his wife must have died. Or he thinks that's where she died. I don't understand.
It's like
she died in a car crash. Like, we see that later. She definitely died in a car crash and drowned. Mm-hmm. But he thinks that she got poisoned still. Maybe. So he's not like accepting her death But he goes to a room where there's like doctors and nurses, and she's there, and he gives her a flower. But then we see it from Julia's point of view, who's following him, and there's no one in the room. And there's like this haze about it when he walks in, so like you can kind of tell it's gonna be different. But just seemed like an odd thing to
Maybe,
do. Yeah.
except
It's Megalon.
before that
All
scene,
Megalon.
I don't know what's real,
Yeah.
and I know I'm not supposed to, but it's frustrating because before that scene, she's following him, and he drives up to a
the
golden glowing
flower shop.
Flower shop.
I called it the flower
and
shop
I was like,
oasis in my notes.
I was like, is this real or not? I truly don't know. I was like, Taylor was not watching the movie with me. She walks by and she's like, what's going on? Because it's the same scene where all the statues are falling down. Well, it's the same scene where he's driving through and all the statues are falling down. She's like, so in this movie, like the statues are alive. And I was like, I don't think we're supposed to think that this is really happening.
Yeah.
And then he drives up to the glowy flower shop, and I'm like, yeah, see, like he's just like seeing things. And then it cuts to Miss Andre watching him, and she also sees the glowing flower shop, and I'm like, or they are, I don't know. This is just the best lit flower shop in the world.
One of the statues was Justice, and Justice was crumbling, which I get. That's a cool metaphor. I don't know. The other statues must represent other like ethos of civilization crumbling, as my guess.
Yeah, I get the metaphor. It's just not clear whether it's real, supposed to be real or not.
Right.
And I took it as not. And then like they throw you things that you're like, or it is.
Yeah.
Or I don't care. Honestly, I don't care.
Yeah.
So this is I read an analysis, or no, this is one I watched on this movie, and I think it hit the nail on the head with these parts, some parts to come in the future, and some parts that we already talked about. So the idea is that Caesar he's like a true visionary. He's open-minded, and he has malleable thoughts. He's right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he can stop time. I don't fully get right the art of that, but
sure.
And that's also why he can imagine these things. Like, you know, he works for these builders, right? And he's this great artist and architect. And then when they show his studio, it's like junk, right? His models are almost laughably simple, like they just slapped them together with office supplies.
Mm-hmm.
But when he walks through it, he can see these things, and like he almost sees them as visions. Julia can do the same thing. Mm-hmm. She's a visionary too. That's why she can see these same things that he's seeing, and she can experience them in the same way.
I was just listening to a podcast yesterday about some, I don't remember the name, but it's basically like how well you can envision things in your mind. Like if I tell you to imagine an apple in your mind and you like told me what it was, some people like can't see a color, and other people can like go to the point where they can like smell it basically. And there's these people that are like super seers, where this guy went insane in his bedroom because he was flipping a dime, and he thought he like projected whatever he wanted the dimes to be on his table. So he'd flip 2 coins and like they're gonna be heads, and he'd see them as heads, and he like thought that they were real as heads, but they weren't. And his like roommates kicked him out, and he like was homeless for like 4 years after that. It was a really cool story. But that's the kind of thing that is a real thing, and that could be what's going on here. That's a really interesting point, Jake.
Yeah, I thought it explained a lot of the confusion, right, about that. Because same thing, when I was watching it, I'm like, I don't know what's real and what's not, right? It's obviously, you know, oh, this movie's so artsy and this and that, but it loses value when it becomes artsy to the point where it's confusing.
Yes.
And that's where I thought this movie landed.
Yeah.
When I read that, okay, these two are true visionaries, and that's why they can see or hallucinate or like see themselves walking in the future, even though they're just going through his city model of random junk that he built. That ended up making a lot more sense to me.
I like that.
Do I think that it fully justifies the movie because of that? No. I think that the movie is still confusing, right?
Yeah.
I think it's better. You know, if I read an analysis of a movie and I'm like, oh, okay, that's it, right? It makes the movie better, but still, I think a movie should be able to stand on its own.
Yeah.
And it usually doesn't.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, as you say that, because I do remember the scene subsequent that where we stopped where Ben was talking, where she's walking through a studio and you see the shapes and then it slowly turns into it. That kind of is explaining what's going on. Like she obviously isn't teleporting into the future city, but she's suddenly in it. And you're like, okay, like she can see what he's going for. But that happens before the scene of the statues falling. And we are living in a world where there's a magical substance that can do anything. And so it's just like, yeah, like you can clearly see how you could cut together the movie in a different way to understand, make clear what is metaphor and what is not.
Yeah.
In a way that's just like, yeah. Also, I love an artsy movie that goes out there and does something weird. Mm-hmm. I don't like it when I see what they're going for and I have to roll my eyes. Like, okay, yeah, it's the Statue of Justice and it fell over. Fucking cool. When you take the literal symbol of justice that happens to be a person and make them collapse, that's not an impressive artistic metaphor. That's just saying this justice is not, this fault is dying, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's not impressive to me. That's part of the problem here.
That's true. I mean, if you contrast this movie with something like Civil War, which is a very like grounded, realistic movie about like how photojournalists would take in civil war within America. It's so
and the pictures they take.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that movie.
That's a good movie I watched this year.
Oh,
it was fucking great.
So good. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. So now we fast forward literally, like the calendar just like flutters by.
You literally. Oh, basically, we see a calendar.
Yep.
I think our Razzie category is most paper-based exposition. It's flashing through in the screen. Extra.
It's all from Citizen Kane. Like Citizen Kane did that really well, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool."
It's just like it was actually contemporary. He just watched Citizen Kane and started writing this.
Well, and it made sense because Citizen Kane was like a newspaper magnet.
There were so many. I want to go back and count how many headline newspaper exposition pieces there were in this movie.
More than were necessary.
More than 10, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm certain.
That was because I think I mentioned at the start, like I love that scene and when they were in the warehouse, and it started with "Wow" when she was the reporter, and I'm like, oh, I kind of like this. Like, is it in your face exposition? Yeah, but it's it's stylized. But then it's not for at this point in the movie, she's no longer a reporter.
Right.
And then, but then they kept doing it, and I'm like, okay.
They
kind of lost me on that. I like the stylization of it at the beginning.
Yeah.
But like other things in this movie, it's not consistent throughout.
He was like, "Oh crap, that's right. I forgot I wrote her in as like a character later. We got to use her for this. We can't use her as exposition anymore." So while Platinum marries Uncle Moneybags and has a wedding at a coliseum, which is also a circus. And a whole bunch of stuff goes down there.
Cowards didn't actually do any gladiatorial combat.
They did
it was all bloodless combat.
They did a race, like
chariots.
They had a chariot race. They had some people wrestling.
Yep.
No one died.
The gladiator wrestling I thought was cool because it looked like pro wrestling, right? Like the entertainment wrestling. And I'm like, okay, so they're clearly, showing that mix of, the homage to the Roman Colosseum gladiators, but, it's, I don't know. So I thought that was cool.
And in the 80s when he probably wrote that
I was excited to see a little more gladiator fighting when I saw the Colosseum, and I was like, eh.
Well, in the 80s when he wrote that scene, it was probably like at the height of like WWF and WWE. Like Hulkamania was running, brother. And he was like, oh, people are going to love this.
I'm just saying, I'm calling it like cowardly, in that the whole point is that using like gladiators for entertainment was like the height of the Roman Empire, like decadence and the fall of the Roman Empire, that it was like we're literally watching blood sport. Yes, wrestling and boxing now are like our blood sport, but we haven't gotten back to that level, and I'm calling him a coward for not.
Well, do you think that the new
saying
blood
that
sport
they're
is
this level?
Do you think the new blood sport is greed in this version?
I think the greed is
because they want to put a casino in instead of build housing.
Well, yeah, the greed is also there. They're two separate things. Like, greed is how the rich people do things, and like the blood sport is supposed to entertain the masses, which is what it's doing. but like you have to keep heightening, which is why why currently. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I have really good news for you two if you want to see some more Bloodsport. Gladiator 2 is out. You can go watch that right now.
Great.
Or it's out soon. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. So they have the wedding. It turns out that Caesar's mom hates him. Shocker. And like blatantly hates him for everything.
It was shocking to me. I didn't know why.
No.
The first thing I saw about his mom was her saying, "I wish you were dead."
Good start.
That's the only thing I know about her.
Yeah.
Is that she hates him.
I got nothing for that.
It was weird.
Like I said, a lot of this movie that's all right. So spoiler alert. Overall, I like this movie more than you guys did. It definitely has a lot of flaws, and probably the biggest flaw, the biggest sin that this movie commits is it's confusing, pretty much all the way through.
Yeah.
And some things I was able to afterwards find justification for, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I like. And a lot of things I did not. And that's the relationship with the mom. I'm like, I don't know where this came from. I don't really know the point of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It feels like just one more idea that he had, and he didn't properly set up for it, and he didn't properly go anywhere with it.
I think I would have liked this movie more if I was more well read in Shakespeare. Because I don't like the way the dialogue was, like I couldn't even understand what they were saying half the time. Like I didn't get the point of what they were trying to say.
So I have that jotted down here. So this movie's too intellectual, right? If you knew, even just in the little bit that I've read, for Roman history references, this movie is packed to the gills with Roman history references, and that's cool, right? And like a lot of the dialogue is referenced too, and but if your movie's too intellectual, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think they need like the VH1 pop-up video. Like,
yeah.
They need that for this movie. Where it just pops up, it's like, this is what he's talking about. It's from Shakespeare. For the idiots like me. They're like, oh, look, it's Justice melting. That's cool.
Fun fact, Claudio did bang his sisters.
Chloe Feynman said Shia LaBeouf was the worst. She didn't say that, allegedly.
About this movie?
No, I was kidding.
Like just the worst to work with?
No, I was kidding. She didn't say anything.
Oh.
Vesta the Virgin. What the hell was that? So they're like raising money for the Virgin, and then they deepfaked her.
That is another thing that is a huge homage to ancient Roman culture.
Okay.
And they were obsessed with these. They would take these women, and they would stay virgins in honor of Vesta and purity and this and that. They actually named this character Vesta.
Yeah.
Which is like the goddess that So, very deep meaning wise. And, the Romans like really respected that to the point where, okay, that's why they were having people, like auction just to raise money in support of, hey, this is how important it is to our society that you're doing this
$1 trillion
and that you're pure.
Where does that money go?
I think it went up. They were raising money for the city. It was just people donating to the city in honor of her virtue.
Wow. And then, so Claudio sneaks into the control room. By the way, everyone in this movie has a Caesar haircut, which is hilarious because it's like a very late 90s trend too. Remember the Caesar haircut? Where it's like, that was fun. So Claudio brings a flash drive to did you think it started off as a floppy disk? Anyway, he started off he brings a flash drive to.
No, it was a film.
Yeah.
It was like a film reel they had to cut in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He brings a flashlight with a deep fake of Vesta the Virgin and Caesar going at it. I think Vesta wasn't deep fake, but Caesar was. Because Vesta turned out was like 25 and wasn't who she said she was. So she like pivoted and became like Jojo Siwa, you remember? Like how she pivoted to like being a
For
badass
no
now.
reason.
Because she
That
was
cut to
outed
that.
as not a virgin, and then Hell.
Yeah, and then we watched another music video.
Yeah.
Just like padding the runtime. I'm not clear if she was deep faked or not in that.
Yeah.
I get that
Yeah.
that Caesar definitely was innocent, but I don't know if she was or not. And it doesn't matter.
And then yeah,
The,
Hell came out after that. There's a bunch of like,
with
Hell be
her new music video. That's right. That's like a trend that we still see now,
Yep.
right? When you have like a young pop star, that's I think the analysis that I saw, they talked about Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus has changed from Hannah Montana, and then when she like, grew up and went out on her own, that's exactly the change of Vesta there.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Innocent young lady
to the point where maybe it was really interesting and groundbreaking when he wrote it, and now it's like boring to the point of being a trope.
But maybe that's the problem. Like
it
we
is
as
a trope.
civilization,
that's what he's doing. Is he's showing the trope?
We as a civilization are so ingrained with this trope now that we're like, yeah, we don't even bat an eye at it anymore, and like that's how far along we are. We're at the Hell part, man. Anyway, so Hell, and then Julian Caesar become a team, and more than a team. You know what I'm saying? And then this whole time, like even at the start of the movie, there's this Russian satellite that has nuclear waste on it that is going to break up over nothing, and then it's going to break up over the city, and then it does, and it destroys a bunch of the city, and then we scoot ahead again, like a whole year.
Another part this part I'm actually not mad at, but is like clearly an artifact of this movie being 40 years in development.
Yeah.
Like a Russian satellite was a much bigger concern.
Not just Russian, USSR.
40 years ago.
Yeah,
USSR
Cold
satellite.
War Russian.
With nuclear material on it breaking up was a very big concern in the 1970s.
Huge. Yeah, like he was writing this, I think Wild Godfather was out. I think this is like his next one he was working on. He was like, just couldn't. So Megalon is now his house. Is it made out of Megalon? And Julian Caesar having a baby. Oh, how nice. But Caesar is offered a deal by the mayor, who does not want his daughter to be with Caesar anymore. So the mayor reveals that the mayor was the DA. Let me go back further. Caesar's wife died, and they never found her body, is what they said. And the mayor as DA at the time, put Caesar on trial for poisoning her. Turns out the mayor.
This was all in a single conversation whispered from the mayor into Caesar's ear in the first scene of the movie.
Turns out the mayor knew that Caesar's wife killed herself by driving a car off a bridge while pregnant with twins, it turns out. We find that out like 15 minutes later. And she drowns, and she's a Jane Doe. And the mayor leaves her like that. And he tells Caesar this now, not the twins part, but everything else, and says, this is my signed confession. I'm going to give this to you as collateral, but you can never be with my daughter again. And it's never really talked about if she takes the deal, he takes the deal, or whatever. Because later on, she's like obviously pregnant, and sees him get shot in the face and freaks out, and like tells her dad, I'm going to go say hi to Caesar. And like,
the other thing
later on, they're still entirely together.
Yeah.
So she need to say.
The other thing that I don't get is, so he has that like revelation. No, this is what happened to your wife, and I kept it a secret. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't get that.
What was his motivation? Did he hate Caesar all the way back then?
Yeah, it seems like
And
he hates Caesar the whole
he
time.
did.
Yeah, like Claudio,
because
level.
Yeah, because this was like a problem for Caesar. He went to trial. He was acquitted, but he tried to prosecute him for it.
Yeah, he's trying to put him
for
away.
murder. He found this out and then prosecuted him for murdering his wife.
Yeah,
even though he knew that wasn't true.
It's real Mr. Freeze energy, from Batman. So the mayor, Claudio's Trump now. Also, that happened. He like goes up to where the building was taken down, and Megalopolis still isn't made. Classic construction, just years and years backed up. I get it.
I like that's the real conflict of the movie. In that scaffolding scene, they say, and we're going to build this casino with no delays, no problems from the union, all thanks to the mayor.
Classic.
That's the real conflict The mayor's mad about the building permits that are going to be required to build with Megalon.
And so the mayor, Claudio's now Trump. He rallies the people. He's like, very obviously this was added in late. There's even a scene earlier when he's starting to do this during the Coliseum scene where a Confederate flag and American flag are held by rioters running through. It's like, okay, well, we all saw that on January 6th. Well, 70% of us saw it on January 6th. And then, so now Caesar gets shot in the face. Claudio wants him dead. Claudio's friend takes it under his wing to have this 12-year-old kid do it, and he just like shoots him in the face, and they run away. And there's like a bunch of cops, and all the cops rush to the scene instead of chasing the kid. I don't get it. So the guy just got away.
The kid gets into an SUV and drives
like
away.
Right in front of everybody.
This is not important, but it was funny when the cop drove.
He did it right there. Right there. Call an ambulance. I don't give a shit. You guys follow him. And then Caesar's shot in the face. He's dying, and they take a lock of his wife's hair, who now Julia knows where he is, which means the mayor probably was asked to give the spot of her body over to save him, which means the mayor is now on his side, I guess. Kind of.
Yeah, at some point he transitions.
All of this is unseen. It's like 1 second of like 5 frames where they're like, this is Sam's hair. And
there's like a weird chanting. They're like, we have her hair. We have her hair.
Yeah. Well, that's because they didn't want to do the 20 minutes of exposition it would take to explain how they got the hair. They're like, no. Just say this a bunch. They'll get it.
There is a very, very quick bit of exposition about how the Megalon is bonding with his cells. Yeah. It's speed talk. Mm. I just remember it like a fever dream.
It was. Yeah. So then.
I mean, yeah, it was a literal fever dream.
Also, I think Jake froze. I'm just looking now.
I thought he was just so tired of our bullshit. I thought he was so tired of our trashing. I kept looking at his face, and I thought he was just waiting for us to stop so we could talk.
The mayor gave him that deal, and I'm like, ooh, this is going to get spicy. And then he got and then it's like they never mentioned the deal again.
Nope.
And so
I'm on your team now.
Yeah, it's just the tragedy bringing people together, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to get shot,
the child might help too.
Yeah.
So, wow.
I mean, he doesn't take it well.
No.
Oh, God.
So Caesar miraculously survives. Becomes a martyr, which is what Claudio didn't want. So Claudio's all pissed off. And then Caesar's bank accounts are frozen by Wow, who is hypnotizing the uncle, her husband, to be the banker. She wants to run the bank, basically. She wants to own the bank. She thinks if she owns the bank, she has the power, which is true in this case.
Yeah. And that's why, I think she was after power from the beginning, right?
100%.
She went after the uncle because she wanted the bank, and then she's going after Claudio as a means to get through because she has a prenup.
She does have a prenup.
So she wants the bank. She has to get around it.
Ain't no idiot. I got a prenup. So Wow offers Caesar a deal. And while doing so, she tries to hypnotize him. And she almost gets there. And then the uncle shows up. He's like, hey, buddy, how are you? And they like work it all out. So Caesar has PTSD, but also accepts his wife's death and like sees visions of how she actually died and like sees that she had twins and they were going to be all this stuff. And then that moved on.
He basically went on a vision quest.
Yeah,
he got that DMT from the near-death experience.
He did. He got that toad licking, Speaking of licking, Wow then teams up with Claudio, and they become a team. And she cuts Claudio's hair, which is what the uncle asked him to do, and that was all he needed to do apparently to like become CEO.
Yeah. You cut your hair.
You cut your hair. You're a banker now.
You're really trying hard. So in the terms of the term sheet, it turns out that he was going to get more power Claudio was going to get more power than the uncle wanted. The uncle had like a heart attack or a stroke or something. And then we see this whirlwind of images again. And there's Claudio getting the uncle being ousted by the board of executives, and Claudio being instilled as the CEO and the head of the board, and WoW taking over part of the property, and like just they become like
all
Mark
all
Anthony
narrated by
Cleopatra.
WoW doing the what?
Yeah, the steps of her plan.
Just so weird.
Which I don't even
was
remember
like,
what the steps
this
were.
is a different movie.
I wasn't paying attention.
Well, you were distracted,
Yeah.
possibly reasonably so.
Yeah, I was distracted when she was talking.
She laid out those steps very clearly.
Yeah, I wasn't listening. And then we see Julius and Caesar elope, which is pretty cool. So they're in the back of the car where he was shot, and they get married by Morpheus from Matrix. He's actually pretty good in this too. He does the
he's got a good
voiceovers.
voice.
He does have really
Yeah, I agree.
Got a good voiceover voice.
He's not one of the standout performances, but that's not an indictment on him. That just tells you how strong each individual cast member was, I felt.
Yep, totally.
Something I watched talked about just how weird, like, I don't know, strange it was for him to be the voiceover, like the point of view character, though. Just his driver.
Yeah.
He's just a driver.
Well, he's like an assistant. But yeah, he's basically most time we see him.
He's just, what's the word for this? Like, his like body man.
Yeah.
It's always with him. But
Bag
like,
man from Veep.
Yeah. But so it makes sense that he would be watching all these things, but it's weird in this context. I don't know.
He's an overseer. Like, he's everywhere, but he's not present. Like, that's what a bagman's job is, kind of. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, but that's, I guess, where it is. Like, that's how you would normally do something if you were telling a very point of fact story instead of a really fantastical and out there story.
Yeah,
where you'd have more like of an elevated, like, godlike person.
It's like that one episode of
like,
Big Bang where Sheldon's giving the explanation of what happened when he left the room, and like his mom and Amy were talking, and he was just like making it up, and Amy goes, "That wasn't there." It's like, I know I wasn't there. I just had to make it up. Like, he just made it all up, and that's why it's so weird and it doesn't make sense.
Exactly. You see the first scenes, and it's Lawrence Fishburne's voice, and it's perfect. He's narrating, and then it's like he's in the car. Later, he's like narrating things that happen in back rooms.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wait, what?
He's Caesar's. He reads Caesar's.
He's the great
diary.
chronicler.
He reads Caesar's.
Why
diary.
wouldn't you tell Caesar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then there's like this holiday cheer thing. Claudio and WoW take over the bank. The uncle is alive, but barely, and he's removed as CEO. I thought he died, and then he like show him in the wheelchair. And then evacuate.
Another really fun scene in.
Oh yeah, don't worry, it's coming. Claudio evacuations start because gangs are moving in. Gangs of people being like, "Give us our houses back. Fuck the immigrants." All that shit. And they're all waiting on Megalopolis. The uncle, it turns out, though, is faking how sick he is because Claudio and WoW walk in talking all shitty on him, being like, "Oh, he can barely hear us." Talks about his big boner, and then it turns out it's a crossbow and fucking nukes WoW Platinum in the heart with it, and Claudio in the butthole.
Small but important point.
Let's hear it.
It was not a crossbow.
Oh yeah.
You might think it was a crossbow because of how hard it impacted, but it was just a teeny little bow.
It was a little tiny bow.
He literally like, where?
That's again
The
odd
most
choice there.
Powerful teeny bow.
It's like a handgun of bows.
You know, and I don't think that, you know, I don't think it's an error, right? Obviously, I think that was stylistic choice, but I don't get it. You know, it doesn't mesh with the tone of the film to have a comically small bow that goes twang.
Yeah.
And then that's how he kills them.
It was like that bow wouldn't like, it would hurt a little. Like, it literally like impales her. A crossbow would have made sense.
Yeah. I figured it was a crossbow.
A little crossbow.
Except it would have been slow to reload.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unless he's like,
I don't think he had to worry about Claudio taking him out.
No.
Right? Like, I don't know. It's the kind of movie detail that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? If it was a crossbow, he could have shot her, and then he could have just taken his bolt and gone click, and then shot again. And people don't really care, right? They don't notice. And if you do point, technically it takes time to reload a crossbow, right? Nobody cares about stuff like that.
No, isn't the JFK?
But then
where, like, if I liked this movie, I wouldn't be making fun of it, even as a little bow. It just because it's so dumb.
I agree. I wasn't a fan of it, not because I think it's a bad idea, but because I think it just doesn't fit the tone of the movie. All of a sudden, it's like comical that he's using like a toy bow that literally goes twang when he shoots it, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
it was weird.
It didn't fit.
I mean, and he specifically like shoots Claudio in the butt, and he like limps away. Like it is a comical scene after he kills. Yeah.
Wow, Platinum. Great.
After
name.
he kills WoW.
Holy shit! Anytime I'm writing a script now and I can't think of a name, I'm just gonna put WoW Platinum. And be
WoW Platinum is so good.
Missed opportunity. Like it was. There's a scene where they ask WoW where she got her name, and it would be in a good movie. It would have like been revisited a couple times. Like it was. I was like, it was funny that she's like
picked it up in Penn Station.
Not funny, but like interesting that she's like making up a different thing every time.
Yeah, she had clearly told people different things every time somebody asks.
Yeah. It's like the Joker's
but
scars.
In a good movie, someone would have said at the beginning, "Where did you get your name?" And she would have given an answer. And then like 20 minutes later, someone would have asked her where she got her name and she would have given a different answer. Yeah. In this movie, she gives an answer and the guy goes, she gave me a different, immediately just like, she gave me a different answer. She told me this. And I'm just like, fuck you. That's not.
It's the way that The Dark Knight did it with Joker's scars versus the way that this movie does it with.
Yes, that's it. That is a good example of a good movie. This why I'm mad. Like all of this movie, I don't care about a movie that's like. I agree, it's overly artsy and annoys me. The thing that gets me the most mad about movies is just shitty dialogue.
But they treat you
and
like
this movie is all shitty dialogue. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they just like have a lack of confidence or like a lack of belief that the audience is intelligent. Everything in this movie is just over exposition all the time.
But then at the same time,
the movie is.
I think it's the opposite. I think this movie's too intellectual.
At the same time, the dialogue that they do use is too intellectual. But it's like
I think it's what you pointed out. It's good. They're pulling good quotes that are trying to be in like intellectual quotes that you have to know history to get, and then anything that's written to fill in the plot is fucking awful.
Yeah. It's like 2001: A Space Odyssey originally had a like narrator the whole time, and Kubrick pulled it out because he was like, "You should not know what's going on." They would have been honestly better if they pulled out like if I was just more confused. I think I would have been better off.
I'd be happier if I was more confused than what we got. I also think you can explain things in a reasonable way.
Yeah,
but it's like we talked about. You mentioned that like him banging his sister comes up a few times, and every time it's the first one is the dad just saying, "I heard your." The grandpa saying, "I heard you're sleeping with your sisters. You better stop." And then later, as we're moving into the circus, there's a news report that just says, "Claudio, what, the bad boy, has been doing some weird politics stuff. Rumor has it he sleeps with his sisters, and that seems true."
Yeah,
like that's the level of dialogue that's coming through the whole time of like exposition.
But then it's like wrapped around like sonnets,
intense historical quotes, and then shitty exposition cut every 20 minutes.
Yeah. That part does make it hard. So then Caesar speaks to the people. His face is all healed. He looks great. And Megalopolis is open. And the world is better. Here's where the characters
I'm not going to lie. I stopped looking for a little. Like I was looking at my phone for a bit between this scene and that. And I was shocked that his face was fully healed.
Yeah, it was just like...
I didn't realize that's what the Megalon was doing. I thought he was going to have like a patch on his face. But he's just back to normal.
Regrown. They ran out of CGI money. So they're like, to heal them. I think, no, it was the point, was that it was going to heal him. So here's where the characters end up. Claudio gets turned on by the people he riled up. Shocker. Uncle gives all his money to Megalopolis because he wants to be a good guy. He wants to be remembered as that. He sees the civilization as
and that's you know that because that's what he says.
He says
exactly
it out loud. And they build a statue. And the statue's already there. WoW built it for him. Mayor and wife join in Megalopolis in a nice little moment where the wife has to pull him. Come on, you rascal. Julie and Caesar are happy with a child, and even his mom seems a little happy, a little bit.
Well, he's in the crowd because disrespect.
Yeah. The last scene that we were talking about earlier, Caesar tells Julia to freeze time, and the kid is unaffected by it. Oh, he's an artist too. He's a visionary.
She's a visionary.
They all are.
Also, the daughter is a she, the baby.
Oh, she is. Yes. Sorry.
And her name is Hope. A little on the nose. Here's what I don't like about that very ending scene, right? I agree with that, right? Like, she's the next generation of leadership and visionary and all that. When they freeze time in that last scene,
Mhm.
they're frozen. Caesar and Julia are frozen,
Shit.
and only the baby is not.
Shit.
And I'm like,
She's
this
more
baby's
of a
going to
visionary.
die. This baby doesn't know how to take care of itself and doesn't know how to unfreeze
It's
time.
the beginning of the coffee table movie that no one should watch.
The sequel is just a wacky comedy where time keeps freezing for the baby.
Oh my god, I love it. Go ahead.
In those closing montages, going back to the Claudio being Trump thing, I don't think I imagined it, but I was confused in the moment because I stopped paying attention. I'm not gonna lie. When they string him up, I swear to God, a red hat gets thrown at him.
No,
specifically.
It does.
A red hat.
They have if there's a few red hats in that scene, and they start throwing the red hats at him.
Get it?
Yeah. Get it?
Get it? Yeah. It's a little. So I was reading.
Except they got the good ending, and we didn't.
Where's my Megalon?
Where's my magical city?
Yeah, what the fuck? I'm gonna go play Sims.
My magical avatar tree city.
So yeah, I think at the end of this movie, their utopia, they end up with the utopia, and the utopia wasn't about having this perfect, flawless city made out of this magical stuff. I think the utopia was the leaders,
the people we
having
meet along
those
the
visionary
way.
leaders.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
right.
I agree.
And then so that's Caesar and Julia are the ones that led them to the utopia, and that's why it's a utopia, right? Because they have the leaders that are looking out for them.
Okay, I buy that.
That's where I think they're at.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I think Coppola made this movie for himself.
Yes.
I don't think. Another comment I read about this said that it has all the makings of a cult classic, only with no cult following.
Let's take time to develop
that I
sometimes.
really liked.
Yeah, maybe in 15 years, everyone will look back and be like, "Oh man, that movie was so good."
And so overall,
we'll just be yearning for a time when
we could make satire.
I was trying to think about exactly. Yeah. When we could make fun of it,
satirize anything. Yeah.
I think overall, I told you at the start that my opinion on this movie changed partway through, and it went from I really didn't like it to I think there's a good movie in there, a good film, but I think it's too riddled with inconsistencies, too riddled with confusion, and all of that. And that's what holds it back.
It needs like three more revisions on the script, and I think it'd be really good.
Exactly. It's which is funny. It's 40 years in the making, and its biggest flaw is that it's incomplete.
Yeah.
I think this movie would benefit from multiple watchings, but I'm not interested in watching it again.
I think it'd be good as a miniseries.
What I think would be, and what I probably am going to do more is, I think I would enjoy watching more analyses on this movie.
Yeah.
Right. Because like I said, it's really cool to learn, and like the names that all of these characters have, like Mayor Cicero, and they're like, oh, well, Cicero is this, and Crassus as the banker. Oh,
where in Rome?
They're all based on real Roman people.
Who do you think Wild Platinum is?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Fair. Just the great Aubrey Plaza.
I'm more on your side after talking about it with you than I am where I started, which was where Nate was.
Yeah. Like
I haven't moved an inch.
If anything, I've receded.
We know.
My feet are firmly in the sand. I wouldn't watch this again, though. I wouldn't watch it again. Like, I'm good.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'd rather watch someone analyzing this movie than actually watch the movie.
I think this isn't
Yeah,
a movie I'm going to bring
I
up
think-
as like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. But like, if somebody brings it up and they're like, "I love that movie," I'm going to be like, "Why? Please, God, tell me why. Like, what am I missing?" Kind of thing.
Yeah. I agree with you that I would enjoy watching an analysis that talks about what they were going for.
Yeah.
Because like when I first saw a trailer, I intuitively expected to enjoy this movie
Sure.
because I
Yeah.
like that kind of thing.
Yep.
So I'd love to hear what it could have been.
Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting.
But
Or, like,
what I
original
don't
sequel.
agree, the only part of that of what you said that I don't agree with is that a few more edits would fix it, because again, my biggest issue is not thematic, it's the dialogue, and like you would need reshoots for that.
No.
Like,
Sorry,
it
I
needs
meant
a few
screenplay.
reshoots.
Screenplay.
Oh, screenplay edits.
Yeah,
Fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah,
Fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah. Like,
Yeah.
rewrites.
Like it, and it does come back to, I think you, like, if of all the thoughts you've changed about this, it's how I framed it. They were going for this epic, like, Roman Shakespearean thing, and
Yeah.
just like the connective tissue wasn't there.
Yep.
Like, they need that
Yep.
to be rewritten
If
in
they-
a way that I would enjoy.
I think if they were going to do it in modern times, which they did, they needed to rewrite the old dialogue to match modern dialogue instead of trying to match modern dialogue to old dialogue, which is what
Yeah.
I think they tried to do.
And the you just talked about that like news program, like talking about the sisters. Oh, and Claudio sleep, which, and the rumors say this. That kind of dialogue, I think it would be fine if the movie was consistently like that, because it kind of reminds me of the crossbow or of the bow.
Yep.
Fine, it's like if the movie was silly like that all the way throughout, then fine, that's what they were going for.
Mhm.
It just
Right,
feels
like-
like sometimes they have these little silly moments. Sometimes it's this great epic. Sometimes it's like a mystery and sci-fi. Just too
Well,
many
yeah,
different
but-
versions over the years that he never went back and made consistent with each
True.
other.
Yeah.
It's not like tonally consistent. Like I said, I realized, like, that is like the Hunger Games news programs are like that, and that's an example of like tonal difference. Like, you have
Yeah.
the real world and you have the capital, and the capital's like that. Like, Caesar Milan is like, hello, no. Like, that's what that was like, but that had
Yeah.
nothing else in the movie is like that.
Mhm. Totally.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, that was Megalopolis. Thanks for listening this far. If you've made it, we're going to play a game. And I am pumped because it's a game I invented mid waking up in the middle of the night.
And baking up.
Just waking up.
Okay.
So this is called Rotten Tomato. I love that name. Came out this morning. Pretty clever.
Oh, I thought that was a typo that you spelled one of them with an E.
No, so I said it right. Rotten Tomato. Get it? Tomato.
I think you just spell the word tomato twice.
No, I know, but I need it phonetically so I remember the joke is it's tomato. Anyway.
You need that phonetically to remember the joke.
I think your joke is stronger than that. I think you would have
Thank you.
remembered.
Thank you. Thank you, Jake.
I think that if you read it tomato, I'd be more confused.
Rotten Tomato. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a movie on Rotten Tomato, and you're going to tell me Rotten Tomatoes, excuse me, and you're going to tell me if the user reviews are higher or the professional reviews are higher. So is the Tamama-meter higher or the Popcorn-meter higher? You can just say user or professional.
Critic.
The way we're going to do that is we're going to go 3, 2, 1. You're both going to say it at the same time, and then you're going to repeat what you said, and we'll be fine. If you get it right, you go to round 2 of the same movie. So you both can get it right, and that's a point for each of you. Or you can both get it wrong, and we do it anyway, because fuck it.
Because I wrote these questions, and we're going to use them.
I didn't write anything. I picked up movies as you were saying how great Megalopolis was. The way it's going to work is you're going to give me a number then, a score. If you get the first digit right, you get, because they're all 2-digit. Well, some are 3, but none that I picked. If you get the first digit right, you get a point. If you get the second digit right, you get a point. If you get both digits right, you get 3 points. Not like on top of each other. So you don't get 5 if you get both right. You get 3. Okay, makes sense?
Yes.
Makes sense.
Okay. Writing down scores here so I can remember. Okay. I tried to pick movies we all knew. So, like, I think I picked your guys' favorite movies and mine. And then I picked ones that we always make fun of. And then I picked Megalopolis.
Which will be in all categories in the future.
So, Jake, I think your favorite movie is The Fifth Element. Did I get that right?
I'll accept it.
Yeah.
I hate to make affirmative claims about
Sure.
what my favorite of anything, but I'm happy with that as a representation.
Okay. So for The Fifth Element, do you think that the reviewers or the users had a higher rating?
I'm going to say
hang on.
users.
Whoa.
I'll say,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna say it at the same time, okay?
I remember the rules now.
Playing the rules.
3, 2, 1, go.
Users.
Okay, you both said users. You're both correct. So that's a point for each of you.
Can't believe I gave it away.
And then
I'd say I've almost never been more sure of anything in my life.
give me your 2-digit number. So like your score that you think it is on 3.
For what we think the users gave it.
Meter.
Yep, this is the popcorn meter. So if you say 71 and the first number is a 7, but the second number is not a 1, you get 1 point. If it's the second number is, but the first number isn't, you get 1 point. And if you're both right, it's 3 points. On 3, are you ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Yes.
82.
74.
Jake gets a point. The number was 86.
Ooh.
So it's currently 2-1 Jake. 71 on the reviewer's side, 86 on the users for The Fifth Element.
Cowards and fools.
There's 70 reviews for the reviewers and 250,000.
I mean, that
for the popcorn.
thematically fits because I guess closer to the critic score than the popcorn score. And Jake on his movie got it right.
That's fair. All right, well, Nate, here's your chance. I put Scott Pilgrim versus the World out there. That's one of your favorites, right?
It's one of my favorites.
Okay. What is your favorite movie right now?
I think Paprika is my answer for my favorite movie.
Well, that's later on because I think that's all of our that's in all of our tops, I think.
Cool.
Okay, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, user or reviewers? Get your answer ready. 3, 2, 1.
User.
Correct by 1.
Ooh.
Yeah, way closer than I thought it would be. Okay. So you both get a point there. It's currently 3-2. Jake in the lead. All right. Get your 2-digit number ready. Got it?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
88.
91.
Jake again gets a point. It was 84. 84. User score was 84. Reviewer was 83. Close, right?
I guess with your clue, I should have guessed lower.
I mean...
I
yeah,
forgot about the
right.
clue.
That's right. I did give that away. It could have been 91,
I just figured
92.
people would like it slightly more than Fifth Element.
All right, now mine. In Bruges. Popcorn or reviewer? User or reviewer? Which one? I'll let you think for a second. In Bruges, my favorite movie. If you haven't watched it, it is objectively the best movie of all time. I'm actually working with another friend. You guys are invited. On a new podcast where we go through the best movies of all time according to random lists, and we watch them and we grade them, and we decide if they are actually the best movie.
I like according to random lists.
Well, there's like, okay, so remember, I sent you guys this video, I think. It's a YouTube list of like aggregating all the like popular lists for the best movies, and it brought up the best 30.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to want to go through that list and like watch them and be like, oh, is this? And In Bruges isn't there. None of my top 3 movies are in it, so I'm pissed.
Bastards.
I know. Parasite,
Pick better movies.
Everything Everywhere, and In Bruges are not in there. Objectively, the 3 greatest movies of all time.
What was the first one?
What did I? Parasite.
Love
that movie. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
Paprika's probably pretty high up there
not.
for me. The soundtrack alone is like worth every second of that movie. Okay, In Bruges. Are the user reviews or the reviewer reviews higher? Do you have your answer ready?
Yes.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Reviewer.
Incorrect. The users is higher.
Oh.
But you both get to guess. So we'll move you on. So it's 4-2.
All right.
Get your numbers ready. This is the user. The users is higher. So this is the user score. 3, 2, 1.
85.
You both said 80 something? 85, 87, 80?
Yeah.
It was 87.
Oh.
Both get a point. So it's 3-5. It was 84 from the reviewers, 87 from the other people, users. Now, for the rest of these, I will tell you that one of them has a tie. So on the next 4, there's 4 left. One of them has a tie. So that is an option for the ones going forward. Okay, a movie we talk about a lot. Iron Man 2. Is the user or the reviewer score higher for Iron Man 2? Now remember, Iron Man 2 stars such people as Jon Favreau, Robert Downey Jr., Mickey Rourke. That's everyone's favorite. Was he Whiplash or something? Is that his name?
Yeah, I liked your first 2. I thought you were going to stop after that pause and just say Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr. I was like, yeah, I know.
They're in it. Good job. No, I skipped around because I was pretty sure it's the Mickey Rourke one, and I had to hit a button to confirm.
It was the Mickey Rourke one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is the user score
Don Cheadle?
Oh yeah, Don. Yeah, he's because the other guy quit.
Yep.
Yeah. So is the reviewer or the user score higher for this one? Do you have your answers ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
Reviewer.
Reviewer is correct. Yeah.
I knew that's what you were going for, but I couldn't conceive that a single Marvel movie had a higher reviewer score than a user score.
So Iron Man 2 is when people and critics still loved Marvel.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's true.
User reviews are going to keep coming in after the fact.
Yep.
So I bet
you're smart.
I bet when it was newer, the user reviews were higher, but now people have lowered it.
Yep. And the comic
You're bringing real strategy.
I think the comic fans were pissed off more at Iron Man 3, but I think Iron Man 2 pissed off some comic book fans. Because I know, Nate, when we saw Iron Man 3, you were pissed because they wasted the bad guy. Like the big bad for Iron Man.
Yeah.
To any of our viewers, you might be rolling your eyes, but Nate didn't always hate all movies.
Yeah, there was a time when we went to Frank together and he enjoyed that movie.
I love Frank.
I know. It's a good movie. Okay, so it's 6-3, Jake.
I love all of the movies we've talked about so far. Iron Man 2 is fine.
Love's a hard word for that one. What's the tomato meter for Iron Man 2? Get a number in your heads. Let's see.
Oh wait, I'm not allowed to play, am I?
Yeah, you are.
Oh,
I gotta give you a chance. You're getting the Jake treatment this game. You get a chance. Do you have your answers?
Yes.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
90.
70.
72 is correct.
Oh damn.
So Nate gets a point for that one. It is now 6-4. Iron Man 2.
I honestly want to know if Iron Man 1 even still has 90%.
I'll go look
on Rotten Tomatoes.
The user score was 71 less. What did I say?
Well, wait, we were doing the user score for.
No, we were doing the reviewer score.
Dang, what's the user score?
It's one
for
lower.
Iron Man 2.
It's one lower.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Iron Man has a 94 review and a 91 user score.
Okay, they're holding on.
Yep. All right, Jake. Even though you haven't seen this movie, I think you can guess. Wizard of Oz is the
OG.
The OG. Yes, the OG. What? You think I'm pulling out the Wiz?
No, there's the
version. No.
Yeah, there's the James Franco.
The Great and Wonderful Oz. I'm not.
I count Wicked.
Yeah,
the new Wicked release.
It's not out yet. It's okay. Good question though. Great question, Jake.
Right.
Original. I love that. Wizard of Oz, does it have a higher reviewer score or user score?
That is tough.
Now, Jake, this is tough for you because the internet didn't exist when this movie came out, so you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Do you have your answer?
Yes.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
User.
Reviewer is correct. 5-6 now, Nate. You're making a comeback.
To be clear, Jake, I don't think that it's just. I think that movie is fine, and it was a popcorn movie when it came out, but I feel like we jerk off to these old movies.
I mean,
I was thinking.
Reviewers are like, "Ooh, it's so good." It's not that good. Go back and watch it. It's not that good.
I say that about the first Willy Wonka, and people freak out. The first hour of that movie is just a shitty musical.
I say
The
that about
first Willy
Jaws.
Wonka, Jaws is fucking boring.
Jaws is great.
The
Yeah,
first
I can't
the
stand
first Willy
Jaws is the
Wonka
best.
is like incredibly boring with a bunch of really memorable moments interspersed.
Yeah, there's like 20.
Yeah, when you
minutes
actually
in the
watch it,
first
you're like,
Willy
"What
Wonka.
is this?"
Yeah.
Which is also how you feel about Jaws when you
No.
watch it.
It's Abby's favorite movie.
Yes.
So she can definitely hear me
What
say this.
is there to watch in this?
I got her.
Oh, it's so boring.
I got her some sand from the beach that it was filmed on for her birthday or anniversary.
See, that's
That
cool.
is incredibly cool and romantic of you. It doesn't change the fact that the movie's boring.
I also think that
Sorry,
Jaws
Abby.
was entirely killed by just age.
Well, they use they use like an animatronic shark, which I think helps it actually. The fact that it's not CGI.
Yeah, the shark looks fine. It's just still not that scary.
Okay. I mean, yeah, okay. If you're going to do it as a horror film, it's not that good. But I think
Jaws
like an action.
Jaws was killed by. Oh, it's not good action either.
It was the first summer
because of the
blockbuster.
animatronic shark. It is historically significant. That doesn't mean it's a good movie.
I'm adding a movie.
It does not hold up.
We're gonna do
the Code of Hammurabi is not great reading. It's impactful.
All right, fair. Okay, what's the score on this one? Get a score ready. It's the reviewer score that we're gonna go after for
reviewer score of Wizard of Oz.
Yep,
okay,
back on track. Do you have a number?
I got it. Yes.
Got it.
3, 2, 1.
93.
92.
It was 98.
What?
Yeah, you both got for that one.
What, have they never seen a movie before? Probably not back then.
I knew it had to be in the 90s, but I still wasn't expecting that.
The user score was 89, and the tomato score was...
I think 89 is a fair score for that movie. Kudos to the people.
Okay. Now we're going to do Jaws. I added it late because you guys were talking on it. So we'll do Jaws now.
Yeah.
Jaws, released in 1975, 2 hours, 4 minutes. A holiday movie is what it's genre'd under. That's a weird choice. I guess it's...
You're taking a holiday from watching good movies?
Is the user score or the reviewer score higher? 3, 2, 1.
User.
Reviewer.
Reviewer is correct.
Come on, Jake. That was a gimme after everything we just talked about.
You're tied. It's 7-7.
Right, but I think people will watch a movie that they hear is great and they'll go into it and then they'll rate it highly.
Yeah, but critics are more susceptible to that than people because they care about their reputation and they know if they say Jaws is bad, fucking annoying people will get mad at them.
What's the score for the reviewer?
The reviewer score on Jaws.
Yep. You ready?
I'm ready to be pissed.
3, 2, 1.
91.
What did you say, Jake?
89.
He said 80s and I said 90s.
It is 97.
I knew it.
No way.
91 was a protest because I wanted the point, but I knew it was going to be higher.
Do you want to know what the user score was? What do you think the user score was, just out of curiosity?
I bet it's a respectable 86.
Jake?
89 again.
90.
Ooh.
What's your favorite Lord of the Rings movie?
Or
what do you think the best
Return
one
of the King.
Two Towers?
Return of the King.
Okay. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Is the user review higher? Oh, Nate's up 8-7, by the way. Is the user review higher or the critics review higher for Lord of the Rings, Return of the King? 3, 2, 1.
User.
Reviewer.
Reviewer is correct. Tied up, Jake. Well done. The critic review score. Are you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
96.
It was 94. You both get a point for that one.
Disrespect.
What do you think the user score was?
If that was a 94, user score's a 92.
Jake, Nate?
We both answered.
What did you say? I didn't hear you. Sorry.
90 and 92.
86.
Bastards.
I know.
You know
All right.
what? It's
Fucking
just
nerd.
people mad about Rings of
Fucking
Power.
nerd.
Yeah, it probably is the Rings
Yeah.
of Power people.
Like,
You're
I'm
right.
going back and downloading all the Lord of
Yeah,
the Rings.
they're all woke now. Why does this orc have a nose ring? That's not allowed. Okay. so
Wait,
there-
that's anti-woke.
Oh yeah.
In the original Lord of the Rings, like the orcs were definitely black coated.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. That is really anti-woke. Yeah. So now there's 2 left, and remember I said one of them has a tie. So you have a 50-50 shot of getting the tie correct. The next movie is Paprika. It's the reviewer or the user
Oh
score
wait,
higher?
are we supposed to say tie to get the points?
Yeah.
That's
I'm
what Ben's
telling you
going
one
with.
of these 2 is a tie. So on the next, either this one or the next one, say the word tied, you might get a point.
And logically, it has to be this one because otherwise that would be stupid, right, Ben?
No. Paprika.
No, he's game theorying us.
Yeah, exactly.
He's game theorying
I know
us.
you two nerds.
No, he's anti-game theorying us.
Am I? Or which one am I?
Oh,
All right. Which is higher, the user or the reviewer score on Paprika?
He's
all right,
definitely
I'm ready.
grimaced. Yep, I'm ready
All
to.
right. 3, 2, 1.
Tie.
Yep, you nailed it. 10-10. It's tied going into this one.
I really wish it would have been the last one.
I know, me too. That'd been hilarious, actually. Okay. What's the score for the user and the reviewer on Paprika?
I think it's gonna break my heart.
Jake, you ready?
Yep.
Nate, you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
89.
87. You
Ooh.
guys were close. Speaking of tied, it's all tied
We
up.
both knew it deserved 90, but we knew it wasn't gonna get there.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to say 92, but
Critics' consensus: following its own brand of logic, Paprika is an eye-opening mind trip that is difficult to follow but never fails to dazzle. Okay.
I agree.
Final.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah. We're tied 11-11. This is the final one.
Ooh.
Megalopolis. What's higher? The user review or the critic
Yeah.
review of Megalopolis?
Not knowing that we were going to do this,
Yeah.
I looked at this less than 3 hours. I looked at it after I finished the movie,
Do you
but
know
I can't remember what it is.
Okay, good.
I don't. I
I'll
can't
switch
remember.
it if you can.
it'll only be suspicious if he.
Gets them both right.
I know
That's
I
right.
wasn't furious, so I know a ballpark. I have a slight advantage.
Do you know which one's higher, though? Do you remember that?
I don't remember
Okay.
which one's higher.
Are you ready?
I'll tell Jake. I know they're both very bad.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's no benefit of the doubt. They're both very low.
They're both below 50. I'll give you that.
Yeah, yeah, solidly below
Yeah.
50.
All right, Jake, do you have an answer?
Yes.
Nate, do you have an answer?
Yes.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Reviewer.
Incorrect. Oh, yeah, sorry. Correct.
Ooh.
Correct. Reviewer is
okay.
correct, yeah. 12-12. All right. Now, what is the score of the reviewer? It is below 50.
I think
Okay.
I might be pulling a memory.
Oh,
if
no.
I get it exactly right,
If you get exactly
then
right,
it's going to be pretty fucked
that'd
up.
be hilarious.
Yeah.
Jake, do you have a number?
I'm ready.
Nate, do you have a number?
Yep.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
45.
It's 46. You're both tied.
Oh, I bet it changed in the last 3 hours. I was like, I remember 45.
He went from saying he can be impartial because he doesn't remember, and now he swears it changed because he got it wrong
No,
by
that's-
one.
Well, no, that's what I'm like. I was like, I know it's bad. I remember a ballpark. I think it was like 30 and 40 something. And then, like, as we narrowed down, I was like, I can picture the number 45 in my head.
Yeah.
Was it 30? Is the other one 35? Because that might be it.
The other one is 35. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, Jake. You've lost the most of these games, so I'm gonna let you pick the last movie for a tiebreaker.
Ooh, let's do the Wild Robot.
Oh, that's a good choice.
That is a
And
good
mostly
strategic
because
choice.
now I'm curious. This game has piqued my interest. It's an interesting thing to analyze.
Remember, the options are available to you.
I feel like I have a reasonable guess, but I know literally nothing about this movie.
I've not seen
Like,
it, but I'm pumped to see it.
the most interest has been Jake saying that he liked it. Before that, I completely didn't even look at this movie.
And it's the last DreamWorks movie that will ever be produced domestically.
Wow.
After this, they're outsourcing their art.
Biden's America. So the wild robot, is it the user, the reviewer, or a tie?
So are you saying that now under Trump's presidency they'll bring it back?
They have to.
Or
it'll
because
be
of the tariffs.
Yep.
Yeah, tariffs.
So we'll pay an extra
It'll be
$1
tariffed
for
to
our
death.
DreamWorks movies. Is it user,
right.
the reviewer, or a tie?
Oh, it's so tough.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I have an answer.
Jake?
Same.
3, 2, 1.
Ready. User.
Tie.
Whoa. Ooh.
Out of the nowhere.
I thought me mentioning tie would have given it away, but okay, good.
We weren't listening. I did not hear you say tie.
I was thinking it would be funny to say tie, but I didn't want to throw away what I thought was pretty much a 50-50.
No,
because I'm like, what are the statistical odds of a tie? It's not worth guessing.
This one it was. Yeah. So the user and the review score is the same. Go ahead and guess. Do you have your
Okay,
answers?
I'm ready.
All right.
Yes.
Nate?
Ready.
3, 2, 1.
82.
Jake, what did you say?
88.
Jake wins by 1 point. It was 98 across the board.
I really wanted it to be 90.
How did you win by 1 point?
He got the second
because I
digit
guess
correct.
the second. This is the first time one of us got the second digit right, and the second digit is a point.
Yep.
I was not clear on that rule.
Nate, I've explained you the rules twice. This is on you.
I thought it was nail the first digit and then 3 points for nailing both digits.
That is correct.
It's 1 point for each digit, or a total of 3 if you get them both.
Exactly.
That's confusing as fuck.
Not really, but Jake got it 100% and won. Way to go, Jake. You were the first ever winner of Tomato. I like this game. We're going to do it again.
That is a good game.
The other game,
also,
go ahead.
They nailed the rating. I do not oversell how good that movie is. You should check it out if it's still showing somewhere near you.
That's great. I think it's available to buy
The Wild Robot
on demand as well.
Yeah. Also, go into it prepared to weep.
Yeah, ready.
Oh dear.
It's crier.
There will be manly tears shed.
Now I can't, in good conscience, recommend Taylor watch it with me, so I have to find a time to watch it on my own.
Shoot.
Why? Because she doesn't want to cry during the movie.
We're not allowed to watch sad movies.
Oh, you watch the whale together?
No, it'll be
watch the whale together.
If you're a warning that we're going to weep, it will destroy Taylor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's probably about animals and stuff too, so that'd be bad. Jake, is that your recommendation for what to watch?
Yes, I'll say that. I also want to give a shout out to it's called Culinary Class Wars on Netflix.
Ooh.
It's a cooking reality show, but it's Korean. So it has, if you've seen a Korean reality show that has the production value ramped up to 1,000.
Heck yeah.
Really good, right? I don't watch a lot of reality cooking competition shows, but this one was a really fun watch.
Nice. That's great. Good answer. Nate, do you have anything? What was one you were going to recommend earlier? But
you
stop.
Quiz Lady. I watched last night.
Yes.
It's pretty good. It's not mind blowing, but it was fun. It grew on me as time went on too. It's Aquafina and Sandra Oh are sisters. Aquafina's hilariously playing a really awkward and charmless person who's really good at quiz shows.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really fun.
It's an amazing. You're right. It's like a really good popcorn movie. It's so fun.
Yeah, exactly. It's not mind blowing, but it's funny, and then it becomes more you get some heart at the end.
Yeah, it's really well done. I like that one a lot too.
Yeah.
Jake, it's funny you met. Do you have no?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I was remembering after we talked about Civil War, I watched Civil War, Robot Dreams, and Problemista on flights between here and San Francisco, and all three of them were really good. Robot Dreams is incredible.
Yeah, that looked good.
And Problemista is kind of weird, but it's worth a watch. It's interesting.
Nice, that's great.
But Robot Dreams, yeah, that'll make you cry too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think that's out on demand in 2 or 3 weeks, so it'll be good.
Nice.
I was going to recommend The Great British Baking Show because that show rules, and I love watching that. It's our Friday night. Me and Abby watch that every Friday night, and there's this guy on there named Dylan who is unbelievable at cooking and baking. It's really good. So go watch the Great British Baking Show.
Speaking of things like that,
Hmm.
the new season of Taskmaster is an
Oh.
instant classic.
So good.
So good.
So this one was. It's season's just about over, isn't it? Or is it
Last
over?
episode
I haven't
just
seen the
came
most
out
recent
last night.
episode.
Yeah.
So this episode, normally every season has been great,
Yeah.
right? Some of them are better than others, but almost universally, it takes a couple episodes before you love the cast. This one, after episode 1, I was like, I can't remember the time I loved a cast this much on episode 1.
100%.
Yeah,
Just
agreed.
immediate off the bat, I was like, these people are funny.
Yeah, they're good. It's
Yeah.
a good group of people. So yeah, that's definitely worth
It's
watching.
definitely a challenge in the first one that's hilarious too.
Uh-huh.
Like to be clear, one of the characters has, or one of not characters, one of the people has cerebral palsy, and she there's a physical challenge, and she says something that immediately killed me,
Yep.
like falling out of the chair laughing.
Yeah, and then
she's.
I think one of the other contestants mentioned not having cerebral palsy later, and that was a detriment in theirs. Yeah, it was really good. So those are our reviews. That's our recommendations. We hope you enjoyed this episode. You can follow us on TikTok at Ramen Cinema, YouTube at youtube.com/Ramen Cinema, and on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, anywhere else you listen to your podcasts. If you do listen on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review. Nate, Jake, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching this movie. We're going to do it again soon because I'm back and able to do it. So we're going to go.
History will tell.
Yeah, we'll find out
That's
next
true.
week. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your enjoy your cinema. We'll see you next time.